Morning everyone, so my name's Ria Shears. I work at Oil Spill Response, so I've been there nearly 5 years now. And I have the pleasure today of chairing this session. So alongside my day job as a technical competent advisor for our response teams, I also head up our plastic working group internally. So as I said, the pleasure is mine in terms of who we've got presenting today. So they are 3 organisations and key people that we work with externally as part of our plastics outreach. So first of all, we're going to have Mark Orr from the UK Spill Association. We're then going to have Amy Curson from the University of Southampton, who's going to talk about her nodal recovery project. And then finally, we're going to have Professor Andy Pickford from the University of Portsmouth. He's going to talk around enzyme research. So it's a project that they're doing in the University of Portsmouth, but also there's an additional project that we are now funding as part of a master's, which he will talk about then. So without further ado, we'll do self-introductions the same as what we did yesterday. So I'll hand over to Mark.
Thank you, Ria. Good morning. Lots of familiar faces, but also lots of familiar names, because one of my other hats, apart from being UK and Ireland Spill Association Executive Director, I'm the Executive Director of Interspill. So I must have corresponded with everybody in this room just about call for papers, Interspill, and all the rest of it. But today the focus is on plastics and the work that we're doing with the UK and within the UK and Ireland Spill Association Plastic Pollution Working Group. Question is, why did we start? We were formed in 2021 purely because lots of plastic nurdles were arriving on beaches around the coast of the United Kingdom, and nobody had a clue what to do with it, particularly the regulator, which over here is the Environment Agency. And they said, we're getting lots of calls, we don't know what to do, can you help us with it? And so what they really required was a nationwide response plan, so that there could be an ability to clean it up. Because what councils were doing was basically hoping that the next tide would pick it up and it would take it on to the next council's beach, which wasn't really a particularly good solution. And I think the regulator, despite being money starved like most regulators are, decided that even in their view, that wasn't a sustainable way of doing it. So what we did is we developed a small group of members of the association. There were 5 members, 6 members who cooperated, and we developed a response plan, as well as trialed various bits of collection equipment. And then we effectively rolled that plan out, and that plan now exists. So when there is a minor spill, let's say there's there's a ton of plant nurdles that appear on a beach, and there's a strand line, let's say a couple of kilometres, that will go out, and the members will go out, collect that, and deal with it. If there's anything more larger than that, then it will fall under our national response plan, and that will be dealt with by the MCA. But local authorities in this country have responsibility for the coastline, and they are very scared of this happening on their beach, because it involves a lot of hassle, a lot of resource, and they don't have either. When the Express Pearl event occurred in May 2021, a lot of our members were deployed to that. And that has actually given us live learning on a real incident, but a real incident of scale. But it is not untypical of the sort of event, which the circumstances might be unusual, but it's not unusual that some containers could arrive on a coastline and cause the carnage which is caused over there. And I think it has quite rightly focused the regulator's mind on what do we do to manage this incident, what do we do to learn from it, and all the rest of it. Unfortunately, we know that those chains of learning and those chains of knowledge and those chains of ideas, perhaps regulation, take, well, more time left than I've probably get to be effective. So what we decided within the Plastic Pollution Working Group was to evolve a series of goals and deliverables between 2022 and 2023, which would mean that we could package our knowledge together and share that knowledge in as open a manner as we can. And so really our imperative has been to share this knowledge and experience, because we've got no way of predicting where the next incident is going to come from. It could happen in the English Channel. I mean, there was a ship which was a British ship which sunk yesterday because it was hit by another ship. One was going to Bremen, one was going north, one was going west, and the two managed to collide just outside the most regulated waterway in the world. So amazing. The problem is not every nation has resource, not every mate has human resource. No, they don't always have the equipment that is necessary to know how to deal with a plastic pollution incident when it arrives. But arrive it will, and that's the only certainty. It will arrive. The plastic pollution working group is trying to give responders, give regulators, give planners a toolbox of knowledge that will culminate for us in a field practice guide, which they can use to inform their own response plans. And hopefully they can then invest in some equipment, which won't just be useful for plastic, it'll be used for other things. But in particular, it is actually about giving them the toolbox of resources that they can dip into. And therefore, they're not starting from a zero start point. They've considered it, they've looked at our resources, and they are. And what are our resources? Our resources are effectively a series. There are 11 goals. There's a series of papers academic papers which have been peer reviewed, which support it, and there's a webinar which goes with it. We're 5 of 8 deliverables through, and we'll finish the next 3 over the next quarter, and then we'll write the field practice guide. So it is a resource which anyone can tap into. There's no barrier, but I would stress that this has come about as a result of collaboration between UK-based companies who freely shared their knowledge and their experience, and they have experience which is going back to decades. It's nice to see Jason Loach over there, who I'm sure would love to bore you about his time in South Africa on the Rainer incident and things like that. But there's others in the room who've actually dealt live with real incidents. They've got their hands dirty, they've waded through nurdles, and they've managed to sort it out. So it's bottling that experience and sharing it, which is what we try to do. The other thing that we're also trying to do is to link the energy, which when you go into university, I always find it really exciting. You've got all these enthusiastic, fresh minds who just want to make the world a better place because it's the world that they're going to live in. And they are passionate about what they do. Now, what I think is great is when students get given projects which have a meaning to the real world. Not just a project which someone has invented just to get you your master's or your PhD. It's a project which can influence and make the real world better. So one thing we have reached out, and you're going to hear a presentation about it, is an exciting project that the group, OSRL primarily and Oracle Environmental, 2 members of the group, helped to nurture. And I'm not going to say any more on that. But it is very, very important. And I was talking to the Spill Response Association in America saying, look, you've got to have your links with the universities. Our world, our spill world is changing radically, more quickly than we think it is, because regulators don't really seem to understand how quickly the world is changing until, a ship which requires methanol arrived in Immingham and in Felixstowe. Shit, what did they do? They got a barge from Rotterdam, which came all the way over from Rotterdam to Immingham, so it could park alongside it and it could load it with methanol. Shit, the ship had been in build for 2 years. So why didn't they understand these things are happening now? The pace of change from conventional fuels to new alternative fuels is happening at pace, but we're not ready, and we need to be ready for it. We need to use academia to help us gain ideas from these fresh minds to evolve solutions. So where are we with our goals? 5 delivered, 2 ongoing, 3 to deliver. The field practice guide will be delivered once we've done a further set of field trials of equipment. These are what we were trying to, these are the ones in red are the ones we've delivered. The 2 which are sort of sharing information is a bit like me standing here or doing webinars. We are developing an accreditation module with our accreditation company, such that for shoreline plastic pollution cleanup. And the 3 we're just trying to deliver are the last 3. If anybody can help us with goal 3, please talk to me. Please talk to me. I'd just love to talk to someone about that. Okay, really be keen. That's a plug. If you didn't get it, that's a plug. So if you can do that, that would be great. The rest we're pretty okay with. Sustainability is a real issue. We're finding it's so hard. You get plastic, collect plastic. It's in a skip. skip is covered, it's not going to go anywhere. What the hell do we do with it next? We haven't got anybody who will take it. And this is probably a common problem. But actually, we're starting to work with British Plastics Federation. We're trying to educate recyclers that actually you've got to have an endpoint. This product has a value. Don't just stick it in an incinerator and burn it so you get waste from energy, which I suppose is better than it just staying in the container, but it isn't the right sort of solution. So yeah, that's really, so sustainability is really important in this whole supply chain, and we can make it more sustainable if we spend time looking at it. So really, that plastic pollution working group, it's going to be an ongoing process. Everything we do, we'll review, and we'll continually review it in the light of new experience. I hope there is not another Express Pearl, but what I do hope is that the toolbox of resources that we've provided do provide something that people can use and be better prepared than the poor people in Sri Lanka are, or even the people in the northeast of England were when, you know, their nurdles arrived on their beach. Fortunately, there are resources. Please feel free to tap into them. Please feel free to engage with us. And if your associations or whatever wants to collaborate in some way, please do. We are collaborating with some Norwegians, the Norwegian Coast Guard. They use many of our webinars as sort of toolbox talks and training and things like that. But if you want, there's no barrier to access. You can access all of it through here. Through there will be access to all of the goals, all the webinars and all the deliverables. Collaboration is the way for trade associations to go and for trade associations to work in the future. We have a stunning project which is going on lithium-ion batteries, because everybody seems to be shocked that they suddenly arrive and shocked that they actually burn and they catch fire and they have thermal runaway. People seem shocked that they cause deaths. But how long have we had them in our phones? But now they're an issue because people are dying. Anyway, that's probably enough from me. I'm getting the evil eye. So
no, you're definitely not. You're actually way ahead of schedule. So.
Am I way ahead? Is right. Okay. So well, in that case.
Oh, go on. Carry on.
Right. Okay. One of the things which a trade association could do, which is exactly what's happening with the plastic pollution and is happening with the lithium-ion battery project, is we have no commercial imperative other than to bring parties together, get them to talk. Now, yes, when they walk in the meeting door, they've somehow got to take out their commercial brain and just give us access to their knowledge brain and forget commercial advantage. And why am I sitting next to him? He's just won a contract, which I tend to bollocks all of that. We don't want that. But what we want is your knowledge. And if we share knowledge and we do it in a way which is open, with protecting intellectual property, of course. But if it's open and you can have that dialogue, it's amazing how quickly you can get things done. We have within our emerging and future risk working group, we have all of the United Kingdom's environment agencies in one room. We have DEFRA, we have the Department for Net Zero, we have the Department for Transport. All of these are in one room, and they're now talking about lithium-ion batteries. Now, the only reason for this is that they're all having their motorways closed because a Tesla catches fire, or I should say another brand, let's say a Hyundai catches fire, or worse still, you get a whole car transporter full of some of those brands, and they catch fire and they close the motorway and they melt the motorway and it's closed for 12 hours, and the motorway then needs resurfacing and things like that. But actually, so we've got to come up with solutions. Solutions don't exist. There aren't real solutions in the real world. Fire blankets, they sound nice, but is it really safe for somebody to actually go to a burning car, which is where you could have a cloud vapor explosion any moment and gently put a fire blanket over it? And what do you do when you take the fire blanket out with all the fumes which then release and the reignition of the car which is on fire? There aren't real solutions. So in the main, we've got to work solutions out. Trade associations and industry bodies are fantastic if people will support it. So if you've got the golden bullet to lithium-ion, come and talk to me outside, because we certainly need solutions in this country. So collaboration is absolutely key. And you can actually make change. Regulators, governments, they are so far behind the curve that what we need is guidance which industry adopts. So within the lithium ion stuff, we produced a set of principles at a workshop on the 10th of October between the group, and the principles will then go forward and end up being some guidance, a form of guidance which everyone can adopt and everyone can rely upon. Because the regulation necessary won't come for 3 or 4 years. You know, we're still talking about it. We have an energy bill which has been going through Parliament for 5 years. I mean, and you know, it's now irrelevant because we've moved on from what that energy bill was trying to address. So it is when bodies come together and they agree something, publish guidance, it then can be adopted as best practice by industry, and that best practice has a value in law, which means people then follow it. So don't ignore your trade association. If you are members, get it to work for the benefit of the industry as well as the benefit of the members within it, because through that you're creating your essential knowledge which enables businesses to work, commerce to flow, incidents to be responded to, and knowledge to be shared. And the more sharing we do, the better and safer the world becomes for everybody. So that's really what we're trying to do. Can I go now? my Earl Grey tea's going.
So brilliant, thank you, Mark.
Any questions? Any questions? Yo, that's a cool little mic. It's very nice, isn't it?
Hi, we haven't met Paul Schuler from OSRL.
Oh, hello, Paul. You're in America, that's probably why we haven't met.
And that's the gist of my question. Do you collaborate with Scott at all on this? The Scott Control Association.
I had a conference call with Brian House.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, and we were hoping to hook up on a call, but I didn't realise I had a dental appointment when he wanted it. So anyway, I'm going to hook, and I couldn't miss a dental appointment because they're like, you get a dental appointment in this country, that's like the holy grail. Yeah, lottery numbers for that in this country. Yeah. So anyway, what Brian and I have agreed is that we're going to collaborate on some webinars of mutual subjects of mutual interest.
Okay, well, I'll just plug IOSC for a good opportunity for you to come over the.
Yeah, I'm definitely coming over, and I have put a what do you call it, abstract in about talking about some of the work that trade associations can do, how they can benefit industry, how you can bring parties together and make things happen.
Great.
Good. So be there. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to New Orleans. Yeah.
Justina?
Hi, morning. I'm Justina Michelle. Are you working with Cedra?
Yeah. Well, we sort of do. We want to do more work, etc.
Okay.
We want to, but there's always a cost barrier. So we don't have any money.
Yeah.
We're just nice guys who work hard and with the support of our members get things done. We wanted to do some trials with Cedra on collection equipment, because we've got our views on what is good for collecting. But unfortunately, it was going to be like 30,000 euros, and 30,000 euros is a shed load of money. Yeah. So what we do, but what we are going to do is we're probably going to use the resources within this university, the University of Southampton, who have some wonderful, wonderful test tanks, which I found in a very posh new building in another part of Southampton, to do some of our trials with them, so that we can monitor them.
And then I'm assuming that this is all connected to the ITAC Marine Skills Group.
Yeah, I think, I'm not personally, but I know OSRL are, and OSRL are members of our group, and I think ITOF is, and ITOF is members of our group as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so we've had conversations with IPICA, and we're hoping that they're going to support with the field guide that we mentioned. So hopefully that's in the pipeline for early next year. Yeah, I'm getting a thumbs up from Maria, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Any more questions at all? Adam Reagan?
A quick, but I'm going to go back if I can.
Another one.
Remember, okay, right people in the room. There must be some ecologists here. please reach out. So I want to get this goal finished. Okay, Anthony.
So regarding ecological impacts, do you work with people like the Cetacean Stranding Incident Programme where they're collecting data on, mammals that will have ingested plastics? So do you collect that sort of data?
We don't have a means of collecting data,
Okay.
but we rely on, hopefully, we'd really like to be working with somebody who has that knowledge to share with us.
Okay.
Yeah, just so what we want to do is basically, I think there's lots of myths in the plastic world. There are, and I think everybody, a bit like electric cars, every time there's a fire in a car park, it's the electric car. As we've just seen in Luton, it wasn't the electric car, it was actually a diesel car. But all that happened was some of the electric cars caught fire too, which made it impossible to fight the fire because you didn't know when the cloud vapor explosion was going to occur. And when firefighters did go in, some of them got they got very close to dying because of the vapor cloud explosions which were occurring and the jets of propellant coming out of the sides of the cars. So they then had to leave it as a controlled burn. Not the solution they wanted, not the solution the owners of the cars wanted, but it's just it was safer than risking life. The problem with plastic is there are myths around it. We need to unbundle some of the myths. But that's all work in progress. Right, thank you very much. Please do engage. I'm going to be here all day and tomorrow.
Thank you, Mark.